video will explain how to send, receive, and reply to chats on a computer using a browser like Chrome. We'll cover the same topic on a mobile device, such as a smartphone or a tablet, in a separate video. Before we get started, there are three important points you'll need to remember. First, you won't receive either chats or chat requests if you have never opened chat. So if you haven't even opened chat yet, stop this video and watch the Get Google Chat on your laptop video. It's linked in the description below. The second point is you can send a direct message in chat internally, meaning to one or several people within ASA or the Diocese of Grand Rapids. You can also send a direct message or chat externally to somebody or many somebodies outside of ASA or the diocese. However, through direct message, you can't do both in the same direct message. To do that, to send a message to both internal people and external people in the same message, you would have to do that in spaces. And I described what spaces are in the navigating chat video, which is also linked below and will be covered in detail in a separate video. Finally, the third point that you need to keep in mind is that the first time you direct message someone in chat, they will need to accept your message request before you can actually chat back and forth. And this works both ways. You will also have to accept chat requests from senders the first time they direct message you. And this is to protect you from receiving direct messages from random people that you don't know. Now that we've covered those details, let's move on to sending a chat. So again, I'm inside Gmail, okay, and I toggle between chat and Gmail simply by clicking on either icon. So I've clicked on chat, so now I am in Google Chat. To start a new chat with someone, you will simply click on the new chat bubble up in the upper left, and you can start entering email addresses. Let me get this out of the way, and that helps. Okay, so you can just start entering email addresses just like you do in Gmail. You also have the option of entering groups. So our ASA pre-established groups, that the same ones that we use for Gmail. So if I wanted to send a message to all staff, I would then choose all staff. You can't, however, do both individual emails and a group in the same direct message. It's one or the other. And also, incidentally, if you aren't familiar with all of the groups that we have at ASA, they are explained in detail in the Employee Tech Guide, which is in your ASA or DOGR bookmarks folder. And you'll find the group information on the resources page in the Google Workspace for Education section. I will link that also in the description below. So let's go ahead and send a message. So I'm going to send this message to the Upper Campus office. And this is the only person I'm going to send it to. Once I get everybody in the address field that I want to send it to, I click Start Chat. Now, if you've had previous conversations or messaged back and forth with someone, you will see the entire previous conversations in the thread here. I am going to go ahead and send a message and let them know that little Susie is going to come in for an ice pack. So I'm going to click right down here in this blank field. And I can format this message if I choose to. So here are my formatting options. I could maybe make some text bold. So you see you have all your normal text formatting options. We could add bullet points. We could do a strike through. We could add a link. If you want to get really fancy, you could add some HTML code in there. And in addition to these, we also could add an emoji to our text. Okay, we're sad for little Susie here. We could add a GIF. We could upload a file to this message, or we could schedule a Google Meet. So these are all the options we have when we're sending a direct message. Once we get the message formatted the way we want, and we can send that by clicking this little send message icon. So now our message has just sent. You can see it's been added to our conversation. So now we'll switch over and see what it looked like to receive that message. I've switched over to the Upper Campus Office account that we just sent the message to. So let's see what it looks like to receive a message. This is what your chat will look like if you've never sent or received any messages. And as you know from previous videos, any new unread message you receive will appear in bold. But because we haven't either received any messages or approved any senders, there are no messages to display in the right pane. So over here. So you might be wondering, where's the message we just sent? The first time a sender messages you, you will need to accept their chat request to allow them to direct message you. So instead of seeing the unread message in bold, we're seeing the username in bold. So if I didn't know Karen, I could hover over her username and get some more information about her. And if that wasn't enough information, I could open the detailed view and more information would appear on the right side, including the same information we saw, plus any communications we've had and any files that we've shared. So let's go ahead and click on the bold username. See that the chat request is at the bottom as well as the message here in the conversation. So if you don't know the sender and the information in the message just doesn't look familiar to you or like it makes sense, feel free to block the user. But since I happen to know this sender pretty well, the message makes sense, so I'll go ahead and accept this chat request. As you may remember from navigating chat video, you have several options for how to handle this message now that we've opened it. So you can immediately respond or react using an emoji. On the reaction here to add an emoji, and let's say we want to send a thumbs up to this person. So we'll scroll through and see if we can find a thumbs up. Here it is. And so now we've just reacted to that message. You'll see we have a few other options. We can quote in the reply, so we can add the quote of this message in our reply. And then we've got these more actions. The three-dot menu is always the more menu. We can mark this message as unread. We could star the message so that it will appear over here when we use the star filter. We could pin it to our board so it appears at the top of your list of messages for this sender. We could forward this message to our Gmail inbox. We could add it to our tasks if you happen to use Google Tasks to track your to-do list. And we can also create a link to this message. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this as unread just so that you can see what it will look like back in my home screen. So once again, in the home screen, we can see that we have an unread message from Karen Sitko. And this is the way your messages will appear after you've approved a sender. So there's also some actions you can take with your message before you even open it, so as it appears in your home screen. So again, we've got the either mark as read or mark as unread toggle switch. And then we've got the more menu. And when we open that up, you can see again, we have our mark as read because now we've marked it as unread. We could open it in a separate pop-up window. We could mute the message, meaning we aren't going to receive any notifications for this message if you have your notifications turned on. And we could just turn off notifications for this particular sender. In addition to that, we can block the message, which means we want to block this sender, meaning we aren't going to get any more messages from this sender. We can hide the conversation or we can delete the conversation. So those are all of your options before you even open the message. Now, if we wanted to open the message, we would just simply click once on it and it opens up and you can see the conversation thread appears over here in the back. We've already reacted to it. But if I wanted to actually reply to this message, I would click in this blank field. And of course, remember, we've got the same options. We can react to it. We can quote and reply. But if I just want to reply, I'm going to click in this blank field and type my message. And then again, just like when we were sending a message, we have all of the same options here. So when I'm all set, I can go ahead and hit send, and we have now replied to our message. So this covers sending, receiving, and replying to messages on a computer. The next tutorial will include the same information, but on a mobile device.